And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. It's now time to talk tennis. I'm joined by IUE's tennis coach, Erskine Ratchford. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
And gonna do a bit of a detour. Usually when we have the coaches on, it's to talk about their team's performance, but we're going to talk about your own tennis performance. You've done some really neat things of late that we think our fans should know about. So, not to embarrass you, but over the past year, you've earned the #1 ranking in the USTA's Midwest region. You've climbed as high as number 44 in the nation in your age group. Give our followers an idea just how much you have to play and how many matches a person has to win to attain those kinds of regional and national rankings.
Well, just right off the bat, coaching gives you a perspective on tennis, and then when you play your matches, there's another perspective. And both, to me, complement each other. I like to play the USTA matches. I tend to try to find Midwest regionals or regional USTA matches or national tournaments to go to. The competition level's high, it's tough. We gain points to get ranking by how well you do in tournaments, very similar to ATP or WTA. It's a rolling ranking at the end of a year or period of time. The points you had previous roll off, and you need to constantly keep playing tournaments to obtain these points to get your rankings. I enjoy that. To me, it keeps me sharp. I learn a lot of new things. The game continues to develop at all levels and age groups. The equipment and things like that make it more aggressive. So it just helps me stay sharp, keep up with the latest things, and do what I really love doing, and that's playing tennis.
Okay. And as you mentioned, your reward for these things is you have to play even more tennis. So you've played a couple particularly noteworthy events lately. First, we want to talk about it was the National Clay Court Championships in New Orleans, and you said the facility itself was as neat as the event. So tell our followers some of the experiences you had there.
Yeah, it was the all age groups through the USTA, short of getting on either the WTA or ATP, have national tournaments, and they play them on various surfaces. There's grass court, hard court, you have clay court, and indoors, and there's national championships for all these, and that's where the big points are at, and it's also where the tough competition shows up. This year, the senior clay courts were held at the New Orleans Lawn Tennis Club there. And it was founded in 1876, so it was like going back in time. The attire is all white. It's very traditional. I felt shades of Wimbledon in there, the way everything was done. And the clay courts were just superb. So, it was like, again, a time capsule, but, it was just great playing there. The competition was outstanding, and it gave me just a great chance to meet these people, play more, and go for the points to help facilitate that ranking. Points are tough to come by, so getting those points are what move you up in the rankings, and I've been trying to work steady at it as time provides.
Okay. And another big event, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Donoff Cup in Orlando, which was, as I understand it, kind of a regional competition, which by virtue of your high Midwest ranking, you were obviously a key part of the Midwest team. I assume it was a little warmer than here. How else did that event go?
Yeah, it was almost in the upper 80s there. It felt like summer. The humidity in Florida is strong. When clay courts, they keep them well watered, so it's like a sauna bath out there. Fortunately, that's an environment I like, and so that worked well for me there. We played at the USTA's National Tennis Center, and again, that was just like, going from New Orleans Tennis Club to the latest state-of-the-art facility at the USTA was, just a fast forward in time. It's a great place to play. They have a collegiate competition area. They have, I don't know, about 30 clay courts or something on that number, a large number, indoor, outdoor courts. When we'd get there early in the morning, there were people playing as early as 7, maybe earlier, and they would play into the night, and there were large crowds. So it's a facility that's well utilized. It's a great place to go to work on your game. The Donoff Cup is a kind of done like on a Davis Cup format, and it's done with the regional groups of the USTA, Midwest, Middle States, Southern, Florida, Texas, California, and we compete, you know, against each regional section against each other, and a lot of good competition, a team format, and you know, we just again get to meet a lot of the players you've known from the past, and we play on the clay and have a lot of fun.
You kind of went over the overall experience. Any specific highlight or two, maybe a specific match, maybe even a specific point, or maybe something that happened outside of the competition that really stands out from those experiences?
I guess the Donoff Cup, it's competitive, but yet it's a little more social than, say, the national championships, where everybody's really focused there. But you know, the camaraderie there, some of the points on clay, we would have rallies. It's amazing where you get some 30-plus rally shots in a point there, and so I guess the biggest thing to take from both tournaments is just the players that are playing at this level, even though it's a senior group, are really in superb shape. Their skill set's strong. Some of them are nationally rated teaching pros. Some have played on the tour in the past. Some are high-level previous college players. And none of that competitive drive has dwindled away. It's just as fierce out there. So every point, again, whether either one, you have to work hard for that. Nobody gives you anything. And if you like the competition and things like that, that's a great environment to develop your game in.
And you led right into my next question. I'm going to force you to name drop a little bit, and that's one thing. I play junior tennis and a little bit of adult level. You have as well. And the interesting thing, on both sides, you run across people invariably that accomplish some big things at the open level. So in these recent experiences, any names that tennis fans might recognize that you either ran across or maybe even played against?
You know, one guy there, I think Mark Vines, I think he's ranked 1 in his age group nationally. He's a phenomenal player. He's not a very big guy, but I believe he played at Southern Methodist. I'm not totally sure, but you know, he's a guy I've known from the past. Great player. Phil Landauer. Phil, I think at one point was in his age group, mid-50s. I think he was 1 in the world in that ITF. So these are not just, we had players that were coming in not just from the United States, but other players from out of the country. And you know, again, when you go out there, you see everybody hitting. You know, you're not seeing anybody that is lacking in skills. You know, when you go out there, you better bring your A game.
And then after going through all this, and I'm sure you have other tournaments on your schedule as well, but some things you realize you're going to take away from these recent experiences that you look forward to applying coaching the teams here at IU East?
You know, from playing there, you know, against that competition, the players there are mentally tough. They play, a lot of them play just year-round. So certainly what I recommend to players is, you know, when you're on your off-season and you have time, get into a sanctioned tournament. Nothing keeps you more focused when you're playing a tournament of that type of level. You can practice, you can drill and do all those things. They're all great things to do, but you need to play tournaments to get that tournament toughness, that mental strength to battle on, to know what shots to use, develop that. The players there that are playing, I think in some cases, at the college level, we're sometimes one-dimensional in our play. You know, we may hit hard, and you know, if you can hit hard enough, maybe that'll work for you if you can keep it in. But these players have learned to construct points. They know how to find the weaknesses, how to exploit things, how to use the whole court. And I think we're seeing more, like in the ATP in particular, the use of drop shots, even at that level now. with the high power they've got, when they drive somebody back, they don't just haul off and blast again. A lot of them have got great short games, exploit all four corners of the court. So I want to do that, and also footwork. All these players have exceptional footwork, and their goal is to get there as early as we can. You know, sometimes I feel like if we feel we've got great shots, we can be a little slack on our footwork. And when you get to the high level of play, you need everything you can. And if you're there early, your shots are a lot easier to do. So playing these kind of matches, you know, it's a necessity to survive, to have these skills, and I think that's translatable for what we're doing here at IU East.
And speaking of which, kind of between seasons for the IU East teams, the fall season, kind of individual championships and some skill development time, and then the team championship seasons in the spring. We've got a few minutes. I'd like to give us a brief recap on some of the highlights from the fall season.
On the men's team, I think we've done very well. We've got some strong players there. We've played some really tough competition. Again, the fall season's a developmental season. We try to use that to play outside of our conference, which, you know, natural. We try to pick highly ranked teams that have got a very high skill set. So this has given us a chance to play teams, I think, that have give us a challenge, help push us a little bit. I like the way the men also performed at the ITAs, our first time there. That's a very, very high caliber level of play. They did well there. And on the same aspect, the women have played very well too, done well in the ITAs. Thias Mendez got to the finals. I think if things had just been maybe done a little bit different, Thias would have come out as the champion there. But she's ranked now in the NAIA. She's 29th in the nation, and I think 7 in the Eastern region. That's a first for us there, and I think her level of play is going to continue to develop. She's got all the shots and all the skills, and what's good about her game is that she knows how to use what shots. She's got the ability to hit all corners of the court, and that, you know, when she played against the ITA matches, I didn't see much of the other girls doing that, and that's what really threw them off, that here was a player that not only could hit the ball hard and into the corners, but she could exploit when they got pushed back, hitting the short ball up front and catching them completely off guard. So I think we're setting ourselves up nice for the spring. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have some tough matches, and you know, I think we'll do well, and looking forward to it.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it as well. So, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations on your recent accomplishments.
Thank you.
All right, you can look at the whole IU East schedule at IUERedWolves.com. This has been Inside IU East Sports. I'm your host, Kyle Wright. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in 2019.